You're now listening to the Something Good Podcast Network. Please press any key to continue.
You don't know about the other side of the pyramid? The fifth side? It's called the floor, you dumbass. I just want to make sure he realizes there is a fifth side to the pyramid.
And once you open your fucking mind of unfettered goddamn fairness.
I know all of them, and I believe none of them, which makes me an expert. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another great episode of the Cryptic Conspiracy Cult. This is your host, Chris Morrison, and I'm here with my one and only roommate, Alex Stiff.
Yo, yo, yo. Still no Quinn. It's almost like a checkerboard. I'm here in episode.
Where is he? Or is he?
Quinn?
Yeah, we'll find out next week. It'll just be me loud texting, asshole, where are you?
Very angry, vigorous, just
yeah. I'll buy a landline phone just to slam it. I don't give a shit.
No, today's gonna be another Professor Morrison episode.
Yeah, you're about to get learned today.
Yeah, you told me ahead of time what this was going to be, and in my search to do my usual listen to YouTube videos as I work my day job, when I realized that all of the real basis of research, not including, third-party people compiling the research and making their own video essay, was all basically from the History Channel.
Yeah.
From like the mid to early thousands.
Yes.
When they were in their prime of aliens and otherworldly things is what is the part.
Yeah,
true part of history.
around the tail end of the Bush years was when like the History Channel kind of goes off the rails into gators, baby, and aliens. So yeah, it turned into TLC.
Yeah,
and A&E, and then everybody else fucking piled on to the reality show. Even Discovery does the whole "what if mermaids were real?" and what if we did it in a really weird advertising way where we said it was real, and scared the shit out of people. Because out of all the ones Discovery Channel do of like if dragons are real, if mermaids are real, they did a whole POV horror movie about if the power goes out across the world. And it never re-aired. You can only watch it on YouTube. And it was just like, why did you not do that? And it was like, it was some dark shit. Like the people they hired to do that never came back.
Well, maybe we need to do a commentary watch along on that episode.
Oh, it's fun because this kid I got a cell phone, but he's got one of those solar chargers. He finds dead bodies in a parking garage. It's fucking wild as shit.
Fuck yeah, no,
that's Discovery for you though.
that sounds like a good Cryptic Conspiracy Cult watch along commentary. Well,
but on this episode, we'll be discussing two different sides to the same bullshit. Today, we will be discussing the flat Earth and the hollow Earth theory. Both are mutually exclusive, but with the right amount of cocaine, you can find the answer.
And I was going to say, and unlike peanut butter and chocolate, these do not mesh because you cannot have a hollow Earth and a flat Earth.
No, this is like crystal meth and pineapples. It does not go together. Yeah, so no me gusta.
So where do we want to start?
So what do you know about the origins, not of per se the OG flat Earth, but what people believe in flat Earth now, the whole basis of that? Have you met anyone that's ever believed in the flat Earth? Because I have.
Yeah, I can't honestly say that I've met anyone that earnestly believes it. I feel like I've met a couple people that said they believe it for the lulz, for the meme.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've met any Dale Gribble, the earth is flat kind of motherfuckers.
Yeah, so it all goes into another conspiracy, actually. So the flat Earth conspirators believe the flat Earth because they deny science down to the physics level of science, that branch. They use anecdotal evidence to try to prove their stuff.
Like what? What is some of the anecdotal evidence?
If you've ever been to the beach, you can't see the curve. That's one, because it's a plain view, it's a flat surface, and you can't see the curve of the Earth. Of course you fucking can't. It's 3,000 miles of nothing. Literally nothing. I had one person tell me they wanted to go to the beach and thought they could see France. Wrong, obviously.
Well, some people can see Alaska from their back porch.
Probably, because they live in Alaska. Another one is the way light moves. Some people say, well, if the Earth is curved, I shouldn't be able to see a cityscape from very far away. No, that is not true. Light bends through gravity. Gravity being the scariest fucking thing of all properties of the universe, because it can do whatever the fuck it wants to do. But we figured it out. Okay. Another one which I think is funny is it's a little bit harder to explain. It's relative gravity. So if me and you are sitting on the back of a truck and throw a ball to each other while the car is moving at, let's say, 25 miles an hour, the ball's not going to fly out of my hand out the back of the fucking truck, because it's relative physics, relative gravity. Flat earthers believe that's a reason the Earth is flat. Because, now here's the derogatory term for people who believe the Earth is round and a ball: spherists. Spherists. They believe the con is the Earth spins on an axis at a certain pace. And if you were moving at that certain pace, you shouldn't be able to throw the ball back and forth going east to west. You know what I'm saying? That's
okay.
It's hard to do in an audio form, but if in a visual form, me and you would be outside with a baseball, and I would have a baseball bat to fend off anyone who's telling us that otherwise.
I thought that was going to lead, and I'd be outside with a baseball bat to whoop you.
Whoop you if you said the Earth was flat.
No, I can't say I've met anyone that actually believes it. It just, to me, all of a sudden cropped up online. And just I started seeing it.
And another part of this, going back to the original idea of flat Earth, the OG, before they realized the Earth was round, religious texts and people believed, yes, the Earth is the center of the universe. We are conscious beings, and why wouldn't we be the center of the universe? And this is, pre-religious texts and stuff like that. A lot of maps were clouds, mountains, giant oceans, and us on the continents. And that's it. That's all they knew, which is fine, until some people got together and said, well, something's not quite right. This is called the pre-Socratic era, before Socrates. One person that came across it was Pythagoras, the guy who created Pythagorean theorem in algebra, everybody's favorite subject in school.
Yes, yay, thanks.
A squared plus B squared equals I failed math.
Yes.
But they did a summary of tests to prove the Earth is round. Do you know what an obelisk is?
Out of all the big words I actually do know, no, I don't know what that one is.
The Washington Monument is an obelisk.
Okay, got it.
It's a giant pillar.
Yeah.
Now, most famous cities in Asia to Western Europe have one of these just standing there. They use this to prove the Earth was round, because of the shade it gives off at a certain time of day.
Oh, right. Sundial type.
Yeah. So an obelisk in St. Petersburg and an obelisk in Egypt give off a different shade pattern. We use it to tell time, but we also use it to turn the curve of the Earth as it rotates. Carl Sagan.
Now, wouldn't a flat earther still say, well, that's just the position of the sun moving across the flat surface?
Here's the fun thing about flat earthers. Another part of the flat earth theory is they prescribe to the fact that we are the center of the universe. So that we don't rotate around the sun, the sun rotates around us.
Right.
So the east to west kind of mentality is fucking stupid. Okay? Because you have relative degrees of sight. A famous photo of this is the figure eight the moon does. If you were to take a camera and click a shot of the moon every night in the same position, it would make a figure eight in the sky because it rotates. And we're not fucking flat. And we're not in a dome, and no one's trying to kill you, Pete. Pete, if you're listening, and I know you are.
So I'm guessing this is
Pete is one of the many people I knew that believed in the flat Earth.
Gotcha, understood.
Mm-hmm. And Pete's a listener.
Okay.
But another person I met in the wild who believed in the flat Earth was a friend of mine I worked with in a kitchen. I won't say his name, but the first day I met him, we discussed flat Earth. at 5 a.m. while making breakfast.
As one does
As
in the
one
kitchen.
does. And I went into it with a modicum of respect, because if you're going to tell me conspiracy theory, I want to listen to the whole thing before I tear it down. But
I will tear it down, but I will hear you out
Yeah.
till the end.
So a lot of his theory was it's a conspiracy to keep people from knowing the truth, along with a mediocre amount of other stuff. He was a big the man kind of conspiracy, which I'm there with him. You can't trust the man. Laws are threats. I've said that many times. So he laid out his story of the flat earth, and he believed, along with a lot of flat earthers that I did research on afterward, was the dome theory. Not only are we on a plane or a disc, but there's a dome protecting us.
Yes, that's been the number one thing that that's anytime I've seen flat earth depicted in fake photography or, drawn imagery, it's always shown to have some sort of dome a la the Simpsons movie on top of it.
Yeah. And the great thing about the dome theory is it can be disproven very quickly by people who've gone to space.
Yeah. That's like the biggest slap in the face to every single astronaut.
So, fun story about Buzz Aldrin. About 10 years ago, Buzz Aldrin, who is roughly about 93 this past year, he celebrated a birthday. He was around 83 when this happened. A man walked up on him, started running his mouth, calling Buzz Aldrin a liar. Buzz Aldrin was with his granddaughter. Buzz Aldrin, being an astronaut, but fun fact, astronauts were in the fucking Air Force back when that meant something, and proceeded to cold cock the dude in the jaw, and the motherfucker went down.
That's why I let it into that. I love that story. I love it.
Yeah, so Buzz Aldrin, who moonwalked on the moon, said fuck you to gravity and partied hard with Neil Armstrong, fucking decked this flat earther in the face.
Yeah.
Now, we'll discuss some other characters in the flat earth society, but another part of the flat earth belief is they believe the rest of the solar system is still spherical. Mars is not flat. It's a planet. Jupiter is their planet. The moon itself could be fake. And
I've heard the fake. So
this is the divide in the flat. This is one of the many divides in the Civil War. That is the flat earthers. Is the moon real? And if so, is it spherical? The moon is real, is spherical, but it's part of the government. So
I've got a third one, which is...
Sure, there's like 15 others.
Because we're part of the dome, even the stars that we see at night are fake. It's all part of a projection put on the dome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another part of it. There's so many layers to this rotten onion. But my favorite part is the dome aspect. So right now there is a kind of like a GoFundMe right now for a flat earthers cruise to go around the world and prove that it ends
around the world.
Yeah. They will traverse the globe and realize
the globe.
Yes. Yeah. So
no matter what phrasing they want to use, they're already failing.
They're fucking up. They're just fucking up. So now, one of the more funniest theories.
Well, how funded is this cruise? Because you were starting on that.
So from what I saw, is up to $275,000. Their goal is a cool meal. And I believe it's to buy a defunct cruise liner that they will go out and sink and die. Bill Burr has a great theory on what we could do with a lot of people to make the world a healthier place, and send like 6,000 people on a cruise and just sink the son of a bitch. That was his saying. But it is a wild project, but it's not the wildest project part of the flat earth people.
No. I've heard of this is probably in your notes or your references, but the test that went horribly wrong.
Yes, in 2020 there was a man named Mike Hughes, also known as Mad Mike Hughes, who built a makeshift rocket at home. At no point did the NSA, the FBI, or anyone in the intelligence organization try to say, maybe don't fucking do that.
Yeah.
Just let him be. And he built a rocket. It did kind of launch in the air and sent him straight to hell.
Yep.
He passed away trying to prove the Earth is flat. I'm not saying the government had a hand in it, but I'm not saying it either.
You're saying they probably just ignored it, and they're like, the problem will solve itself. Yes. And then it did.
Yes. It's kind of like when the military kind of sends like a Toyota pickup full of like napalm in the middle of the desert, and it's like, oh no, they'll get it. The terrorists, they'll find it, and they can take it, but they ain't going nowhere with it, and then just blow it up remotely. Yeah. See, it solved itself. See, weapons of mass destruction. But yeah, Mad Mike Hughes. I remember when that happened. It's almost a year ago, 3 years ago today. I think it was in February 23rd of 2020.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 years ago. This guy was a dumbass. But like the funny story about Mike Hughes is he had a YouTube following and a Reddit following, of course.
Yeah.
And they supported him 100%. And that's a cool thing. That's kind of like a cool thing about Flat Earth is the cohesion of the believers. Now, the problem I have with Flat Earth is not the belief of Flat Earth. It's the disgusting byproduct of conspiracies, especially newer conspiracies we have today. If I go to a doctor, I have to rely on their expertise, right? If I go to a musician, I have to rely on them that they know what the fuck they're talking about, right? So we have this belief of expertise. Flat earthers kind of shield away from that. They're like, no, you're not an expert. Or if you are, you're lying to me. And on a societal level, that's very fucking dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's not even just in Flat Earth. I mean, that falls under, the FDA is lying to you. The pharmaceutical companies lying to you. Your QAnons and stuff
like that.
Yeah.
So it withers away.
And your soccer moms.
Yeah, but it withers away your trust in societal pillars. And it's fucking terrible. Like, it's kind of like a disease almost that you need to fucking end. Now, I'm all for believing in stupid shit. I'm all fucking for it.
We've based an entire podcast off of it.
I love the Mormons. That's another episode we'll get to. Pay to watch that one. It's just me outside with a basketball talking to guys with bow ties. It's like, tell me more about your religion. Tell me. Take your tie off. But no, so like with the flat earthers, you deal with pseudoscience to the umpteenth degree. All of this can be destroyed matter-of-factly with basic science. Your basic high school teacher could disprove this very quickly. The problem is they are the loudest people in the room. Okay, so when you're trying to have a cause, legitimately saying, hey, I think the government's lying to me. And then you got this guy, yeah, the government's lying to you. It's the Earth's flat and AIDS ain't real. And it's just like, God damn it.
Shut up, Jim.
What the fuck is wrong with you? It's like the feminism, the third wave feminism is like, oh, men are bad. It's just like, no, you're fucking up your cause. That's what you're doing. You don't want equality. You just want to be a bitch. But with the flat Earth people, from what I've seen is there is a underlying bias for people with expertise, especially NASA or any type of space. Even Elon Musk is getting shit from these people. Yeah. And he's just like, and I don't like Elon Musk, but you're rich enough to kill them. Like, just do it. Do it. Give them one of your cars and kill them. Blow them the fuck up. So with another kind of story on this, recently William Shatner from Star Trek had recently went to space.
Yes.
And this was actually a big part of the Flat Earth movement. They were like, okay, he's not an expert. He's just a man. He's not your Jeff Bezos or anything like that.
He's just a man.
He's just a man. And a lot of people in the Flat Earth community have actually left because of that. Because this guy, who was an icon in science fiction, has come out and said, yes, it's a fucking globe, but I saw it from on high, and
right.
and it's terrible. he had a terrible experience going to space because he realized that, in his words, we're all going to die. Like he believes that the human race will destroy the planet. Like that's what he said. Basically, he's depressed that the way the Earth's going, we're going to fuck it up beyond recognition.
But it's round.
But it's round. God damn it, it's round. Now, other than flat Earth, the funniest one I've ever heard about what the Earth is, someone described it to me that the Earth sits on a stoop. And I demanded clarification immediately.
Yeah, because I'm quite confused.
So you know what a stoop is.
Yeah.
A stoop is about 2 or 3 stairs in front of a door.
Right.
With a little foundation.
Right.
Yeah.
That's at least the traditional definition of a stoop.
And I asked, so you believe the Earth is on a little thing of stairs, just sitting there? She's like, yeah. Okay.
What the fuck?
After the 3 mini strokes, I came to and asked, what the fuck do you mean? And she's like, no, it just sits on a stoop. And that's all they would say. And I'm just like losing my shit.
Where did the stairs go? Is it the stairway to heaven?
No, it's just like 3 or 4 steps. Like it's a stoop. That's what they kept.
Right, but if it's a stoop, that means there's an extra set of stairs, right? Like we're in the middle point. There was steps going up to the Earth, and then there's going to be another set of steps, probably at a 90-degree angle to your right.
So trust me, I've had this conversation multiple times during many Thanksgivings. But it was one of the weirdest stories I've ever heard someone describe what they thought about the Earth. And that's when some things I think people don't really talk about is when you sit down with somebody and just have a casual conversation, people have some batshit ideas. I have some batshit ideas down to the point where it sounds like fascism, but like in a weird, fun way. So like when she told me that, I'm just like, okay, you're fucking with me. You have to be fucking. And she wasn't. She still believes this to this day. I love her to death. But it's the funniest thing I've ever heard described other than flat Earth.
So talking about flat Earth, though, since I've actually not met any of them in person, would you be able to have a semi-argument on their behalf if I have a couple like rebuttals and questions?
So when I spoke to the friend I worked with, we became friends instantly. I said, in a very calming way, because it's the first time I'm meeting this person, and a lot of times when I go to a job, I'm very quiet because I need to gauge the room.
Read the room.
Read the room. It's not bussing. You know what I'm saying? So
no cap for real.
So we're talking. He's a little bit older than I was, but I came to the thing was like, this man is a hardline believer. I'm not going in to change his mind. I'm telling him what I believe, and there's the agree to disagree. Instead of an argument, let's have a civilized debate. Okay, I said, I know where you're coming from. I acknowledge that you're distrust for the government. I don't fucking trust the government. That's why I vote every 2 years. Like that's why I vote from smallest to largest. That's why I don't trust them. But I said, don't let that lead you down a longer path of idiocy. I'm not saying like if you can believe in the flat Earth, that's fine. But it's I kind of explained that conspiracy is a conspiracy into itself. Your Alex Joneses are actually trying to do something to you to make you dumber. Okay, that's the conspiracy. But till this day, he still believes it, which is fine. I knew someone who said we never went to the moon. We've had conversations. Now he believes we went to the moon. Granted, it's bullshit. We've never been to the moon.
We had an episode on that.
Yeah, it never happened. It never fucking happened. Paul McCartney was there.
That did happen.
That happened. He died in
but
space.
No, so like I do have like a couple, like rebuttal type questions. Would you be able to argue on their behalf? Do you know like enough about what they believe to like rebut me and like reply as if you were a flat earther?
The problem is with what I know about it, it would fuck with me a little bit, kind of hard to do, because the pseudoscience sounds so fucking ridiculous.
Well, my number one is, why hasn't anyone fallen off the edge?
That's part of the larger conspiracy is they have and been replaced. So We've talked about how conspiracy works. It's a pyramid of bullshit.
Replaced.
So
are we dealing with like scroll technology or like Attack of the Clones technology?
More like you've been bought off by the man.
Who's buying who, though?
That's the great thing about conspiracy. It's the man.
I know, right? But
we know where this ends.
But let's just say John falls off the edge of the earth. Who's paying who off to be John?
That's the great thing about it. It's a conspiracy. It doesn't matter who. That's the end goal of a conspiracy. Is you don't have to prove it. You just have to prove the other side wrong. And with pseudoscience, it can be done.
So the man is looking over lost people reports, and they're like, oh, that's a guy that fell off the edge of the earth. We need to find a body double. And then they start searching all their teddy bear cams until they find a guy, and then they send guys in suits in a van out there to kidnap them, brainwash them, pay them off, and you're like, you're the new John. And he's like, but what about my other family? And they're like, fuck, okay. And then they got to run, go get that family, brainwash them, and put them in a new thing, and then they have to worry about that entire family, like the whole descendants and everything. So yeah, they just create, that makes sense.
So if anybody changes their mind, they've been brainwashed. If anyone has gone missing who's part of the flat earth movement, they were killed off in an accident of sorts.
That's in any conspiracy. Yeah, the 9/11 conspiracies, anytime they knew such too much. Crazy coincidences of how, like, as soon as they started speaking out, they died in some act of God's circumstance.
Yeah. So the funniest part of the anti-flat earth people are Navy admirals in the military. There's a large group of former Navy admirals who just lose their fucking shit and are just like, I want to get you on a boat. I may kill you, but I want to get you on a fucking boat. And
it reminds me of the I forget his name immediately, but there was a comedian that was telling a joke about when he was living with his roommate in college. In the cabinet when they first moved in, there was a spice of there was a jar of cumin in there, but just to fuck with him, he kept calling it cumin. And he's like, and it was pissing his roommate off so bad. And I was like, every time he's just like, yeah, well, why don't we put a little bit of cumin on these eggs? He's just like, fucking stop.
Yeah,
it's called cumin. Fucking say it right, cumin. It's cumin. That's what I'm just imagining, like, those guys here, like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah, flat Earth. No, fucking no.
Yeah, that's just how that goes. And another fun part of the flat Earth kind of storyline is their rejection of NASA.
Yes, because it's a government entity, so they're being paid
but
off.
Not just that. They have pseudoscience explanations that they cite that was pre, the moon landing. During the early 60s, during the time of Kennedy being elected, there was one or two scientists out there who came and said, no, we would never be able to escape the gravity of Earth, because they didn't understand that advancement of technology.
Exactly.
This happens every generation. At one point, there was a man who said, kids will never, ever use pen and paper or pencil and paper because it's too costly. Because at that time, it was too costly. He says there's no reason to go from chalk and board. He was wrong. And these guys were prominent figures in their field. At one time, this is the great thing about science. Science evolves through trial and error. At one point, and this wasn't that long ago, people believed babies didn't feel pain. Okay, so that was like in the early 90s. Okay, up to that point. I don't
know. I don't think that's right, because the whole spanking the bottom, getting them to cry.
No, it spanks the bottom to get the diaphragm going.
Yeah.
To make them breathe. But it's not a pain thing.
But it's a reaction.
Yeah, but they believe it's the reaction for the lungs to kick in. That's a whole different story. I'm not going to argue about, shitting out a baby. But
shitting out a baby.
So
your phrasing is impeccable.
It's fantastic. You should put it on a mug. But like another one was in the 1800s, a scientist had said, who was in the medical field, said washing his hands was very important to prevent death in birth rates, because it was germs. They didn't believe germs existed, because at that point that they didn't think it was real, because at that time Louis Pasteur hadn't proved it. That's why we pasteurize milk. That's why we pasteurize
And this is the same time frame that some of the flat earthers are grabbing their information.
And so if you pull out a history book that was printed in the 1800s, the world map is very different. Okay? There is a sharp line that cuts Africa in half, because at that point, British people didn't go that far south and believed a giant mountain range separated all of sub-Saharan Africa from the rest of Africa. They met tribes from Somalia to Sudan to Egypt to Liberia. Yeah, because they lived there. And they didn't know gorillas existed in the 1800s. So, like, that's the great thing about science. You know, we trial and error our way into discovery. The flat earthers and people before that reject it to a highest point. But going back to NASA, they cite the article this man wrote saying we would not escape Earth's gravity because of the pull.
Right.
And
it also had to do with like the amount of heat that it would take and XYZ. I remember reading those, hearing about those documents.
And so this goes into the moon landing part with the flat earthers was we can't escape Earth's gravity, and us going through the air so fast to escape it, we'd burn up in the atmosphere. So they believe that friction is what's causing you to burn up. Therefore, you can't escape. But science fiction depicted a way of doing this. Jules Verne, Earth to the Moon, is a giant rocket. You know why he believed in giant rockets? Because the Chinese created fireworks. And when they came to the United States and Europe and started shooting off these fucking rockets and shit, these little tiny things, they're like, how far would that go? Because human imagination makes it go further than it should. And from mediocre fireworks to rockets in post-World War II to 1969, a man's on the moon. So science propelled, the truth. They still acknowledge the Stone Age kind of belief in science. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what creates the distrust of flat earthers is, well, this guy said, and we've seen this before with vaccines. There was this one scientist out of the blue who said they cause autism. He had no physical proof at all. Autism, like any other malady of that caliber, is hard to define. It's a broad spectrum problem. Or, for some people, it's not a problem at all. But it's not caused by getting a smallpox vaccine, okay? Like, it's not that issue. And the whole science of it together is ruining the idea of expertise. Okay?
Exactly.
So that's the only problem I have with the conspiracy is the byproduct it creates. Mm-hmm. It is fantastical that they believe that the Earth is flat on a dome, but Mars and Jupiter and Saturn are fucking spherical.
That's the part that just gets me, is like, what makes us so special that we're flat?
Okay, so in the original pre-Socrates era, this is different flat earthers. These are religious people who believe God created the Earth in 7 days and made it the center of the universe. Okay. There's that belief. And then when so-and-so created the idea the earth is round, they burnt him alive. So that's what happens. But eventually it came back around into, the Greek philosophers and Roman philosophers up into the point where, yeah, we can prove it. We proved in
Wait, what did you do to that other guy?
Yeah, they burned him alive.
What the fuck, bro?
And then you have some guys.
He was right.
And then you have some people who just repent for 2 days and just leave town. And they just keep doing their shit. Religion's a fun thing. That's another conspiracy. But with the whole story of flat Earth, it's very short and sweet, but there's two sides to it. Just like the flat Earth.
Coin.
Just like the flat Earth. On the bottom is nothing. On the top is us. And another part of this is, if it's kind of funny in an ignorant kind of way, it's why don't people on the southern hemisphere going toward Antarctica just fall off?
Yeah.
And I want to be so bad that I just want to drag them down there. Fall. Get up. Get up. And I just want to keep pushing them down. Get up. No. Tell me why you keep falling. Just keep jabbing them down and just keep doing it until they can't do it anymore, and then I'll leave them there. I'll leave them at the Cape of Good Hope and let the fucking hyenas get them.
Yeah, that's still my number one argument on that. And then plus, how did we get the dome?
I have no idea. Like, no, I have not found an actual answer to the dome part, other than it protects us from the rest of the spherical universe.
But yeah, like, okay, fine. I'll play along a minute. Sure, we're on a flat Earth and we have a dome. When did the dome get there?
Yeah. So that became,
how did we get the dome there?
So that was my first question to my friend I was working with, and he had no answer. And I said, okay, let's skip that. Tell me more. And that's, how I create.
Tell me why.
Ain't nothing but a domed earth.
Tell me why.
Ain't nothing but a flat earth.
God damn it.
Back to Earth, boys. But what that's fucking hilarious.
I was just gonna let it roll, but now we're still chuckling to ourselves.
So another part of this is the old artwork that we get from map making.
Yes.
So a lot of the original maps of the Earth are, just a kind of like a coin with the continents in the center, and the four winds, the four corners of the world.
Yeah.
That's where that comes from, was the original flat Earth map. The four corners of the world were the flat Earth's map. Angels sit at the flat four corners.
Okay.
Yeah, so on those maps made by whites. But when you go to, like, let's say East Asia, their maps are the same. They believed, because it's we know a lot more about the world because we're taught that. They're not I'm not saying they're less intelligent. They just didn't have the means to prove it.
Right.
So they were working with what they had, and that's where we get a lot of our speculative fiction from. Our myths, our religions are like, hey, why is the sky blue? So, well, God's son flies over with the sun and he leaves because he's got to go on break, and then his daughter shows with the moon, and then she's got to go on break. Sometimes she's late, though. She never shows up all the time. And it's just like, and that's a perfect fucking explanation of I've lived in the fucking woods fighting for my life every fucking day.
Yeah, that's good enough for you.
That's good enough for me. Hey, is the fire still lit? Please tell me the fire's still lit, because like that's keeping us going. But on a broad thing of it, the idea of that this Greek civilization idea is still going is downright infuriating, just because they don't trust someone who says they know what they're fucking talking about.
Yeah.
Now, I understand people don't like listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't fucking like him either. He has a weird hate for water towers that bothers the shit out of me. And he's a weird dude. And he's kind of a condescending prick.
He is very condescending.
But like on the opposing part of that, you got Bill Nye.
Yeah.
Bill Nye, the Mr. Rogers of science.
Not even a real scientist.
Yeah, but the Mr. Rogers of teaching you science.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all he's got to tell you. And I think that's what kind of, we see it a lot of just like, oh, this guy's in charge. Why is he in charge? Oh, he's the head of his field. It's like, and that right there, that part is very dangerous, because now you start questioning other people that are professionals in their field.
Because we'll question the professionals in the field, but we'll trust science fiction that leads us into something like Hollow Earth.
Yeah. So going into this next part of this, the other side of the box, is the
fifth side of the pyramid.
It's just the goddamn floor. Going into the other one is the belief in the Hollow Earth. So the Hollow Earth is very layered in its storytelling. It is
layered.
So another version of, you can kind of tell in storytelling when people realized the Earth was round, the storytelling changed. Your circles of hell and your pillars of heaven are on a globe. So when you see Dante's Inferno, he draws a globe and a tunnel down to hell, and it's layered. So at that point, during Dante Alighieri's time, it's always explained as a globe. Now, to the Hollow Earth part, we see it as a joke, a hardcore joke. It appears in the newest Godzilla movies, the Mole Men from Marvel and stuff like that. The people underground, the aliens, the lizard people, shapeshifters.
Hell,
hell is always underground.
See, that was always my little mental depiction, like when I was, a little wee young lad.
Oh yeah, when they're doing Firebrand Religion Day at fucking work.
Oh yeah. So it's like I always imagine, at the center of our earth is hell.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I hold that belief like in kindergarten or some shit. Before you know what actual layers of the earth is.
And what's crazy is like the depictions of hell vary from different place. In Catholic dogma, hell is a cold, dark place. Before your pre-Abrahamic religions, people believed a place called Ashola, which is the underneath, because they buried the dead or burned the dead. So where did the soul go? If it was good, it went into the sky, because when you look in the sky, you kind of get optimistic. Hey, what's out there? We don't see what they saw now because we have what's called light pollution. We can't really see what's out. And so imagine being north of the Sahara. You're in northern Africa. You just buried your friend. You got a little fire going, but you look up into the sky and you see the pantheon of stars. And you're
painted there on the sphere.
Painted there on the sphere. But you see this magnificent, stars, the moon, and you see all this in all its majesty, and you're like, if you didn't have religion, you didn't know what you know now, and you thought of what's inside, the consciousness of the body. If I had buried a friend, I would think that his consciousness would go there, somewhere attainable.
That makes sense.
Okay, on a
he becomes one of the stars.
Yeah, and that's why we have the constellations. Orion, the great warrior Orion. The whole constellation is of a warrior. Everybody thinks it's the belt. No, it's a whole man, crudely drawn, dot to dot, but more solid than the conspiracy of Paul McCartney.
It really is.
So you have this hopeful idea in philosophy that the human soul goes up to ascend to the next area. Because when we see stars, we're like, what is that? It's something bright and shiny. The light is the best thing to have, because in the dark it's scary. But deep underground, your first civilizations are going to encounter caves. What's in caves? Dangerous fucking things that want to murder you and rip you apart. Bears, mountain lions, tigers, whatever Wizard of Oz told you about. So that's what they believed. The Ashola was the underneath. Okay. Stranger Things is a freak thing. I'm pretty sure Stranger Things is Jupiter. Like that's where he went.
Nice.
He just went to Jupiter. And it's a hellscape. But the hollow earth is depicted through religion. And then it's kind of manufactured out through kind of like religious fan fiction. Well, why can't we go deeper underground? Isn't it safer underground? Yeah, I guess. But you need to be up here to, fully live. Not just because of your need for vitamin D, but like
oxygen.
Oxygen, there's a lot of things that people perceive about the earth that are just fantastical. Not just the flat part, but the hollow part. And
I also think that a lot of that hollow craziness also comes from, isn't the core of our earth a mixture of gases and like magma, essentially?
The core of the earth is a molten ball of nickel that's spinning extremely fast, which causes the earth to rotate on its stoop.
Didn't you hear the news recently that has slowed down and is starting to spin in reverse?
So the earth slows down periodically on its I want to say the summer and winter solstice, because that's when we get the closest and furthest from the sun.
Yeah. Now I'm talking about the core, though.
Yeah. That's I've heard that story. I think it's like 1/25th of a millisecond,
which is still a lot in comparison.
Yeah. So, but it also speeds up. That's the other part. The core of the earth, like I said, is a molten ball of nickel.
Right.
And out of there you have your submantle, mantle, outer inner crust, outer crust, everything you learn in earth science. We will never crack the crust of the earth just because of how fucking dangerous it is. The Russians tried it. the Russians, give it up for Russians, they're doing pseudoscience. But it got so hot that they had to plug the hole. That's a fact. They mined as far down as possible, and just to test. And this is part of that weird age of science between 1920 to 1970, where everybody was just doing all kinds of crazy, stupid shit.
Yeah.
In every branch of science. Psychology. Let's put some kids in the woods. Let's see what happens. It's like, yeah, that's Lord of the Flies. Yeah, you did that. You did that. Congratulations. You didn't have to wait till fucking Joe Karsh and fucking Kid Nation. But no. OJ Karsh.
All right, now that this little bitch is out of here, who wants a gold star?
But they had tried to drill down as far as possible just to see the how far humans could go.
Now, was it just like heat radiating out, or did they hit like liquid?
No, because they hit liquid, it would have exploded and cracked.
Well, I didn't know if there were like different levels, because you were saying the core was nickel, so I didn't know if like maybe there was other layers that weren't
the crust of the Earth is what they were trying to break, what the tectonic plates technically are. And they shift and move. And a worry was, just like any other scientific experiment, was what's the worst that could happen? The worst thing that could happen is they crack the crust, create a new ring or a new fault line for a new tectonic plate, and create a new mountain range by accident. That can happen. Whole islands in the Pacific form and destroy within days. That happens all the time. There's a great documentary about a man who finds new islands in the Pacific, lands on them, checks them out, and then leaves. And then like a week later, they're just fucking gone because it's in the Ring of Fire, which is the ring that goes around the Pacific, down past India, down past California, all the way down to Antarctica, and it's called the Ring of Fire. It's a ring of earthquakes.
And you know you're getting close when you hear that really good trumpet.
Yeah. But they believe that they would have caused a crack because of the borehole. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's something borehole, and it was just a giant hole straight down. Now it's capped.
Yeah, no cap.
There are stories of workers on there saying they heard screaming when they got to the bottom, that they felt very unwell. They, were hallucinating, which is
probably gases.
Yeah, it's probably the methane, because that's what's underground. All that beautiful methane.
The earth is just farts.
The earth is just farts. Good, clean, burning farts. But with that, it was the pinnacle of how far could we go. The same thing happened when we developed nuclear weapons. One guy said, well, if we fire one off, two things are going to happen. We're going to have a massive explosion, and we may set the atmosphere on fire, killing everyone.
Maybe.
That was a maybe. But they decided, well, let it ride. We're in the middle of World War II, motherfucker. We're fighting Germany, Japan. Let it ride. Roll them dice, motherfucker. And luckily, not everyone died. A lot of people in Japan died, but we didn't die. So,
go team.
Go team. USA. USA.
USA.
Ah, fuck. Did we nuke them into Hello Kitty? Oh, God. Is that why no one gets laid in Japan? But anyway, they go into this idea of how far down we could go, because that's the big mystery. Now, we talk about the next frontier of Earth is the stars and, other planets. But there's so much we don't know about our own planet. And that's kind of what fuels Flat Earth and the Hollow Earth. They actually have a name for the Hollow Earth. It's called Agartha. Agartha has been the basis of so many weird conspiracies and almost cryptids. Especially how, like Godzilla, the movie's Godzilla, they use that conspiracy to say, hey, how does Godzilla get from Japan to the United States to Europe to Asia? How does he move so fast? And he's like, he goes through the Hollow Earth. It's hilarious. But they built it up. And another part of this, and this would be like a 2-hour, 2-part episode about the lizard people.
Oh God, the lizard people.
So, but it goes into that story. It becomes the foundation for the lizard people that lived among man or fought man and then lost. Or are they still among us using human skin? I don't fucking know. No.
Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, that was a big one for the longest time. And no, I don't think so.
No.
Rosalind Carter, though. She looks like Little Debbie. Youthful. Her and Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter, if you look up an old photo of him when he get married, his wife looks like Little Debbie, and he looks like David Bowie in a naval fucking suit. It is fucking hilarious. I've never seen Jimmy Carter and David Bowie in the same room. But
New conspiracy.
Is Jimmy Carter the best fucking rock star? And somehow he pulls off a North Georgia accent and a fucking British one.
Yes. Oh God.
But whole new episode on mini conspiracies I just make up by just flipping a coin.
Yes.
Oh, that would be fun. Just make a board of bullshit, and you got to make a conspiracy out of that.
Oh my God, yes. The board of bullshit.
The cryptic conspiracy game.
The cryptic conspiracy board of bullshit.
Yeah, cult game. Yeah, the Triple C board game.
Yes. Oh, that'd be so
It's like
great.
a jump to conclusions match. Oh, it's not going to sell. You've been huffing too many fumes. But with the idea of the hollow earth can be disproven very quickly because of stuff like the Marianas Trench, which is a giant crevasse in the Pacific Ocean, which is the deepest point on Earth. Remember that. It may be on a trivia question one day. So we can only make it so far down the ocean to determine where tectonic plates go. But with that giant crevasse, we can use robots, much like James Cameron did when he found the Titanic. All kinds of crazy shit thanks to movies.
and that's what I said. They trust science fiction more than actual scientists.
Well, let's think about like someone like James Cameron. He doesn't make movies to make movies. He makes movies to try new shit. So he's just like, I really want a brand new sub. And it's just like, hey, Paramount, what if I made a movie about the Titanic and I found the son of a bitch?
Will you buy my sub?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. They bought him a sub, and then he made modifications to it through engineering, and then created that.
Yeah.
With the flat Earth and the whole hollow Earth, you have two different ends of the spectrum.
Yes, because they do not coexist.
Yeah. And we've talked about it before on our Aliens Part 2 were the aliens already here? And that's another function of the flat Earth. Did they bore underground and create a civilization and have just been slowly either monitoring what's going on up here or slowly pushing us toward destruction so they can arise back? That's a big part of the lizard conspiracy. We'll get on that on the next episode.
Well, so my only question on that would be if they created Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
Where's all the materials from underground?
Yeah. So there isn't a big community that talks about trying to find Hollow Earth. The biggest part of that community is get fucking rid of it, like, because it's the fear of the lizard people.
Yeah, fill it up.
Yeah, or socialist Democrats, whatever. Lizard man, socialist Democrat, they're all the same.
Now we have a solution to our pollution. Just put it in Hollow Earth.
Put on Hollow Earth, which will go into another real conspiracy about ExxonMobil and their hiding of actual science that proved climate change was real in the 70s. But
the way you looked at me when you said that, the room dimmed. All of a sudden, a cigarette showed up in your hand.
yeah. Let me tell you about Exxon. And it just takes one pull off a fucking cigarette, just all the way to the filter.
Yep. But yeah, so that was the one thing
I just keep pointing at you, and the cigarette ash doesn't come off; it just stays there solid.
Yeah, it's just wiggling.
It's because of that one pull.
Yep. The only thing I've really heard about with Hollow Earth, it seems like I've run across more instances in online culture or movies and stuff that more people believe in flat Earth than they do Hollow Earth.
Yeah, so Hollow Earth is kind of a pulp comic kind of thing. It was another part of science fiction that didn't develop as fast as the flat Earth.
It's more of like a wink and nod than a seriousness.
Yeah, but a lot of people have put in stock in it in the last probably like 40 years just because it helps further their own conspiracy, especially the whole lizard people one, which is one of the most batshit ones. But it's still fun to talk about, and it's fun to engage people. Now, some of the people you engage with, you got to be careful, because if you try to argue with an idiot, they'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. and it's fascinating. So you gotta be careful.
You've given me like 20 t-shirts in this one episode alone.
Check out our marketplace. We got new shit.
It might be up by the time this episode comes out.
Probably. I fucking hope so. It's really puzzling. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's gonna be a minute.
Oh,
Don't be teasing that.
Oh,
No, there's artists that have to get involved. You got to do your shit on it to collect some images.
We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. Keep listening. Send us money or stuff, mainly groceries.
Or sponsor us.
Want something. Betty Crocker, get off your ass and help us. Get sponsored by Betty Crocker and the new Starry soda. Send us your weird lemon lime Sierra Mist knockoff. We tried that recently. That was nothing.
Yeah, that wasn't even worth trying to film. It was just like, eh.
It was almost it wasn't as bad as the Mountain Dew fruitcake.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was rough. Go away.
I don't know which was worse, that or the spicy Mountain Dew.
I'll take spicy Mountain Dew any day.
Really?
Over that.
I was still getting that like bile, like, post puke with the spicy one. Yeah. At least with the fruitcake one, it was just overly sweet.
Yeah. And that's another conspiracy. Pepsi and Coke, are they really together?
Oh God.
But with the Hollow Earth, we, like I said, it's used for foundations of like, hey, what happened to Atlantis? The Hollow Earth people got them. And it's like, dun, 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 dun. And the problem with dealing with, conspiracies, we've talked about it before, is finding the mainstream channel of it and then seeing all the weird branches that come off of it. Like I said, there's the belief flat earthers have that the Earth is flat, but the planets are spherical.
Spherical?
Spherist. You're a goddamn spherist. And I bet you think Paul McCartney's still alive, don't you?
God damn it.
You motherfucker. I'm going to leave. I'll be back. I'm getting a Dr. Pepper and a pack of Winston's, but when I come back, we're going to discuss this again.
Now, see, my question is, it's like, so we're worried about, Hollow Earth and everything, but it is known that we've not traveled to the deepest part of the ocean.
Yeah.
That, to me, seems more interesting.
It is. And there's a large group of people who would be with you on that. There's a great push right now because of all the weird things we are seeing in the ocean. Recently, I think it was about 5 years ago, there was a pipeline that was needing maintenance for an oil rig. They got down there with a camera, and they saw what looked like a new species of squid. And based on the, relativeness of the camera and like, when you put something up to like $1 bill, you kind of gauge how big it is. They did that to the pipeline and it was massive. Like this could be the lost gigantic squid, but another version of it. And that's another part of why people don't want to go in the ocean. It's like, what the fuck is that? Do you know what an anglerfish is?
Yes.
Okay, an anglerfish uses bioluminescence with a little ball. We see it in Finding Nemo when they go too deep.
Yep. And that's how I know about it.
But it's grotesque. It is
the teeth.
Yeah, the nightmare fuel that's in the deep dark of the ocean. And we don't know what else is down there. Why? All right, so it's down there so far. What it's below that, if it does exist. And that's kind of why I think there's a push to discover, but also in a safe way, because putting a human down there is damn near impossible. But a machine, all day.
Technology's getting to the point.
It's getting there. We just saw a drone made of sticks.
That's some shit you would do.
Yeah, sticks and stones make my drones, but the government will never hurt me.
Oh, yeah. God damn it. Banger after banger over here.
Oh, yes. That ghost energy is really kicking in. Sponsor us, Ghost.
Yes.
Your weird condom logo and everything.
No, it's a ghost.
It looks like a ripped condom.
Because your dick just got too hard. You're fucking too fast.
Dude, in 10 years, that shit's going to be ghost fucking alcohol or hard ghost.
Oh, I bet there's already R&D for it.
Hard ghost. It's just a full condom. Like Monster. The next Four Locos coming, baby.
Hey, we're also getting the spiked iced tea from Bojangles.
Yeah. Mr. Bojangles. Hell yeah. Get your bucket of fried chicken and get drunk in the parking lot. Hell yeah.
I'm too drunk to taste this chicken. Fuck you. I stole it.
I ain't afraid of no pedophile. I ain't no child. Shout out to Mikey Black for telling me that joke. That motherfucker had me cracking up on that shit.
What was it?
He's like, I ain't afraid of no pedophile. I ain't no child. I ain't no kid. I ain't scared of no pedophile.
God damn it.
God damn it is right. Hard Ghost.
Catch Mikey at his open mic nights.
Oh, yeah, that's coming up with Fireball, of all people.
No shit.
Yeah, Fireball is going to be...
He didn't tell me anything
I
anymore.
know. Well, he'll tell you Monday night.
Yeah.
He'll tell you Monday night.
Hey, dude.
Hey, man, let me tell you something. Well, I'll kick your ass. But
what else you got on Hollow Earth or Flat Earth for us?
So a cool thing about Hollow Earth is that was the explanation that a lot of people used for why the Aztecs and Mayans just up and disappeared. So with conspiracies, they kind of overlay on explanation.
Right.
So we've heard like aliens built the pyramids, therefore they built the pyramids in Machu Picchu, in what is now Mexico City.
They're homing beacons.
They're homing beacons built by aliens, not like the Mexican people of that time or the Central Americans of that time realized that stacking rocks that way works really well. The same way the Egyptians did. Who would have thought that stacking rocks that way is the perfect way to stack rocks?
Yeah.
But they believe that when the conquistadors came and annihilated the Aztecs, which they rightfully did, that they retreated to somewhere safer. A good story of this is, you've heard of the crystal skulls. Okay, so these are relics that are found throughout the world, but mainly in Central and South America. They recently found one in Eastern Europe, which was in a cave that they recently found. And it was kind of like, well, let's date it. Let's see how far long it is. And it's very well crafted. And then the whole conspiracy part is it's aliens underground.
Bum, 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 bum.
Another part of the Hollow Earth, which is part of American folklore, was during the wilderness campaigns and the expansion of westward, let's say like going from North Carolina to like Memphis, past the Appalachian Mountains, when we have the plains. We don't see the Rockies yet. We're just that nice sweet area of the Midwest. People were disappearing left and right. The Native Americans at the time said, no, don't go into this area because you will disappear. Recently, someone showed like main disappearances of colonies or people. Swaths of people have disappeared in the early, discovery of America. And then overlaid a map of natural caves in the United States. Guess what? They overlap a lot. So all those people probably just fell down a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we have stories of people who live in caves and have survived. A good story about North Carolina exactly is Linville Caverns. Did you ever go there as a kid?
No.
Linville Caverns is a set of caves that go into the Appalachian Mountains of North Carolina. Soldiers at some point who either fought, I believe it was the Civil War, had made their way into the caves to hide. And there's a fascinating story about smoke coming off the mountain, and there's just like, no, that's just fog. And it's like, no, there's people in that fucking mountain. And then they come out of the mountain, attack, and then go back to the mountain. And so in that time, you can hear stories about, oh fuck, did you hear about those people that got attacked by the people in the woods, like gorillas in the mist type shit?
Right.
And it's just like, oh no, that's the mole people. But you're basically creating a whole kind of situation where you just post up in a cave somewhere and attack people and leave, and now you create like a myth.
Yeah. Exactly.
The Bonnie Sod people of Great Britain were the same thing. A family of inbred monsters who lived in a fucking cave and attacked people on the road.
Yeah.
Until the British Army was like, let's burn them out. That's a true story. That's a true fucking story. The Bonnie Sod people. But with the Hollow Earth, it goes even further. I can't remember the name of the Native American tribe, but they had told a story to the colonizers that was, we fought giants who had whiter, paler skin, and their hair was a fire red, and they drove them into a cave from where they came from and killed them. And that was the story.
They almost killed off the gingers.
Ginger giants.
Cartman would be terrified.
Yes. But that was a story they told. Much when we talked about Bigfoot, they had a story about Bigfoot. So the idea of, a people living underground was just as terrifying as, is the earth flat to these people? The only problem is trying to prove the earth is solid means you have to dig giant fucking holes to prove it. And that's dangerous.
Well, I think so. I think they at least got close enough to prove that it's solid.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. There's craters. There's craters from meteorites striking the earth so fucking hard that it's created lakes.
Yeah. You would think it would crack it.
Yeah.
If it was hollow.
There's a famous crater in North Carolina where Venus flytraps grow wild. The only place in the world Venus flytraps grow are in North Carolina. There's a conspiracy there somewhere. Organic material of carnivore plants. Yeah, that's fucking fantastic.
They're alien.
They're alien. Yeah, fuck yeah, they're alien. Probably. But, that's a cool story.
Yeah, Marvel Comics had the symbiote that fell from the sky and landed on Earth. Yeah, and we got Venus flytraps.
Yeah, so when you're going out into North Carolina, go to the caverns, pick you up a pack of Winston's, stop in that Meteor Lake, get you a fucking Dr. Pepper, stop at Hidden Night, get you some weird fucking gems, come to Charlotte and come see us.
Have a grand old time.
Fucking grand old. Get a mug. I'll write something on it for you. But for right now, I think we'll end it off there. Alex, thanks for joining us.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
And we're going to come back again, maybe with another special guest. Who knows? We just play it by ear here. Again, this is Chris signing off. Thank you for listening to the Cryptic Conspiracy Cult.